Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Today is a fun day. It's gonna be a weird day because today is the last day we'll be reading Fourth Wing, and then tomorrow we'll be starting Iron Flame, the second book in the series, and we have, how many weeks left? Oh, we have literally a month left because today's the 21st. We have one whole month left until the third book of the series comes out. So I think that should mean that we have exactly 4 weeks left. Let me double check my calendar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, we have 4. If you don't count this week, this weekend, we have 4 weekends left until Onyx Storm is released. Alrighty, I'm excited. Are you guys excited? Because it is gonna be very fun. It's gonna be very fun to, do this. And just for anybody who is still not sure why I'm doing this, as I have said for the past, I don't know how many I think 3 weeks, um, I am doing this every Saturday and Sunday where I'll be reading about 6 chapters of both the books Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame up until the release of Onyx Storm January 21st. And if people request it enough, I might actually read Onyx Storm on stream, once I've already read through it, which probably by that weekend, since the book comes out on a Tuesday, I will most likely be reading it on stream, but we'll see. Depends on if everybody wants me to read the third book or not. I will let everybody know, there is one short chapter in these last 6 chapters, so bear in mind that there will be a very quick, or I will read it, and there will be a very quick break right after that. There are 3 official chapters left in the actual book, and then there are 3 bonus Xaden chapters for today. So we will be reading 6 chapters in total, and then tomorrow we'll start on Iron Flame. I almost said Iron Wing. I don't know why I keep doing that, but yeah, I'm excited. So, we'll start with chapter 37 today. And as a reminder for everybody who is watching this on Twitch, if I will be re-uploading the VOD on my YouTube channel right after. I don't know why my animals choose right when I'm busy to get so close to my desk and then choose to scratch themselves into my mic. I'm sorry for anybody who heard that, if you guys heard that. But, yeah, we will be, I'm gonna take a quick break. I know I just started, but I'm gonna take a quick break, and then we will start chapter 37 today. For those of you on Twitch, I will be running an ad during this break. Alright, so sorry about that. Okay. Let's get into Chapter 37. Let me mark in my book the times for the video on the YouTubes. Okay. Get comfy, everybody. For Chapter 37. I whip around in the saddle and see a Venom, the one who killed Soliel, distended branch-like veins spreading from her red eyes. Grasping the sword, she stabbed in between Terran's scales in the area behind his wings. "There's a Venom on your back," I shout at Terran as the Venom whips a ball of fire towards my head. It comes so close that I feel the singe of heat along my cheek. Terran rolls, executing a dizzying climb that throws my weight back into the saddle, and yet the Venom holds fast, grabbing onto the embedded sword as her feet fly out from under her. The second Terran levels off, the Venom stares at me like I'm her next meal, striding for me with nothing but resolve in her eyes and fisting serrated green-tipped daggers. "3 more riderless ones on my tail," Terran shouts. Fuck, there's something I'm missing. It's taunting me from the edge of my mind, like the answer to a test I know I've studied for. "Aren't you a little small for a dragon rider?" the Venom hisses. "Big enough to kill you. Terran and I are dead if I don't do something." You need to stay level," I tell Terran, unbuckling the thigh straps. "You will not unseat," Terran growls. "I won't let her kill you." I climb to my feet and unsheath the 2 daggers Xaden gave me today. Every challenge, every obstacle, every hour Imogen spent in the weight room, every single time Xaden has taken me to the mat has to be worth something, right? This is just a challenge. With a not-so-fictitious dark wielder on the parapet. A moving, flying parapet. "Get back in your seat," Terran orders. "You can't shake her. She'll cut into you again. I have to kill her." I shove the fear aside. There's no room for it here. By the dying sunlight and the eerie glow of the burning city below us, I dodge the first swipe of her knife, then the second, ducking low and throwing up my forearm to block a downward thrust, halting the plunge of metal jabbing towards my face. Sorry, I just sneezed. Where was I? The force of impact results in a snap. I know it's one of my bones. Excruciating pain momentarily freezes me as the dagger flies out of my hand. I'm down to only one. My heart pounds as my feet catch on one of Terran's spikes, and I stumble. I can't even cradle my ruined, throbbing arm as she advances, gaining on me with every lunge and swipe of her green-tipped daggers. It's as if she knows exactly what I'm going to do before I do it. She counters every one of my attacks with a quicker one of her own, as if she's adapting to my fighting style from mere moments of combat. She's unnaturally quick. I've never seen Xaden or Imogen move this fast. I manage to parry each of her attacks, but there's no question that I'm on the defense. She's not even in leathers, just a fluttering sail of a robe, and still. Pain flares in my arm, hot and sharp, and I fall back in disbelief when I find one of her daggers protruding low in my side, just beneath the edge of the dragon scale armor. Terran roars and Andarna shrieks. "Violet!" Xaden screams. "She's too fast!" I doubt the dagger has struck anything vital from its position, and I fight through mouth-watering nausea to balance the only venom blade I have left and yank hers out. But something isn't right. The wound begins to burn, and I immediately battle to keep my balance as acid races through my veins. The tip on the knife is no longer green as it falls from my fingers. Such untapped power. No wonder we were called here. You could command the sky to surrender all its power, and I bet you don't know what to do with it, do you? Riders never do. I'm going to split you open and see where all that astonishing lightning comes from. She waves the other dagger at me, and I realize she's playing with me. Or maybe I'll let him do it. You'll wish for death if I hand you over to my sage. She has a teacher? She's a damn student, just like me, and I'm lethally outmatched. I can barely keep track of which hand her blade is in. My arm has its own heartbeat, and my side screams. Level the playing field, Xaden orders. He's split his power, and shadow rushes in from the cliffs at my left, throwing the world around me and the venom into a cloud of complete darkness. And I have the power of light. I'm the one in control now, and I know the terrain of Terran's back like my own hand. Moving to the right, where I can feel the slope of his shoulder, I take up a fighting stance, grip my dagger in my good hand, and let my power explode through the dark, illuminating the sky for one crackling, priceless second. Sorry. The venom is disoriented. Her back turned toward me. I plunge the ruined dagger between her ribs, right where Xaden showed me all of those months ago, and yank it out so I don't lose it. She staggers backwards, her face turning an ashen gray before she falls from Terran's back. I falter, swaying as the acid in my veins burns brighter, harsher, incinerating me from the inside out. "She's dead," I managed to tell them, throwing the word out towards Terran, Xaden, Andarna, and Sigil. Whoever might be listening. The shadows fall away, letting in the fading light of dusk as I stumble toward the saddle, holding my side and to stanch the flow of blood from the stab wound. "You're hurt," Terran accuses. "I'm fine," I lie, staring with wide eyes as dark black blood splunges through my fingers. Not good, so not good. I won't be able to fight another in hand to hand, not with the wound in my side, and soon I'll be too weak to wield. The strength is flowing out from me with my The strength is flowing out of me with my blood. I sheath the dagger. My best weapon now is my mind. Taking a deep breath, I fight to steady my heartbeat and think. "They're falling," Terran says, and I jerk my gaze from my side to see 3 wyvern tumble from the sky and crash to the earth. Riderless wyvern, created by venom, and they all died because I killed one venom. That's what Liam was trying to tell me. When a dragon dies, so does its rider. But apparently, when a venom dies, so do the wyvern they created. All of them. That's how we can save everyone on this battlefield. There are 2 riders among the horde Xaden is holding back. "We have to take out the riders," I whisper. "Yes," Terran agrees, following my thoughts. "Excellent idea. You're willing to gamble your life on it?" If I'm wrong, we're both dead, and so are Xaden and Sigil. I will bet my life on you, and I have from the first day," he says, banking to fly back to the valley as the other dragons rush with their riders to follow us. No doubt following Terran's command. Only Garrick and his brown scorpion tail are ahead of us, flying low and fast towards Xaden. Three of the Venom are dead, but one is. I watch in horror as a Venom with a staff as tall as he is strides out of the darkness, his menacing gaze locked on Xaden. "To the left!" I scream at Xaden. Sigil spins and blasts fire at the Venom, but he doesn't so much as pause. Garrick leans from his seat and flings a dagger, but before it can reach the Venom, the robed figure slams his staff into the ground and disappears, like he was never there in the first place. He moved. Oh my god. He moved, but to where? "The hell?" I shout into the wind. A general... Swear to God. "A general can recognize another general, and that's their leader," Terran says. "The sage." "I can't hold them back much longer," Xaden yells, his arms shaking so hard it looks like his body is tearing itself apart at the very seams as we rush towards the mouth of the valley. "New plan," I tell Xaden as Terran pushes himself to the max. "I need you to let the shadows fall." "What?" He's already wavering. I can see it by the staining shapes against his shadows. A wyvern desperate to push their way through. So much suffering. The hurt in Andana's voice jars me. I whip my head back toward the trading post and catch a glint of gold. My heart seizes. "No, it's not safe for you here." "You need me," she yells. "Please, hide. One of us has to survive this," I tell her as Terran flies past Xaden and Sigil. "Xaden, you have to drop the shadows. It's the only way." "Terran!" Sigil shouts, fear edging her tone in a way I've never heard. "Don't ask that of me." Even Xaden's voice shakes. Those shadows are coming down whether or not he wants them to. He's approaching burnout. "If you've ever trusted me, Xaden, I need you to do it." I use his earlier words, barely breathing through the searing pain in my side. He'll lose himself to burnout if he doesn't trust me. Fuck. In a blink, the wall of shadows fall, and the wyvern fly towards us with terrifying speed. If I can't do this, no one will survive. There are too many of them. "Spot the most powerful rider, Terran. It's the best bet, the only bet. We're a minute away from a collision. Once I've taken the rider out, that only leaves one. Xaden, just kill that one and the rest of the wyvern will fall." "I'm coming, but I'll get there first. Terran is faster than Sigil. You saved us by holding them back this long." When he starts to respond, I slam my shield down, blocking him out to concentrate. Terran's head swivels left and right, searching, and I break apart the last of my archive walls, keeping one foot firmly on the marble floor. "There," Terran says, his head turned to the right. "That one." At the corner of the flying horde is a seated Venom, crimson veins streaking his temples and traveling down his cheeks. "You sure?" I ask. "Positive." Blue fire erupts from the horde, and I barely draw a breath before a torrent of shadows rises from the edges of the valley, snuffing out the flame. Power ripples in my bones, vibrating my very being with the amount of energy I'm forcing my body to contain. "Tell me your plan isn't to try to jump on the wyvern's back?" Terran asks as my breath hitches. "Just a few more seconds and we'll be close enough." "I don't have to," I tell him. "Didn't you hear what the Venom said? I can command the sky to surrender all its power, but I'm going to need every ounce of yours to do it." I unleash my signet and strike once, missing the wyvern, then again missing once more. They're almost on us as I strike again and again, pushing myself to the limit as Xaden smothers the blue flames before they have a chance to burn me alive. I can't aim. I'm not ready. Maybe if I had another year or two to practice, but not now. I need more, Terran. You will burn out, Silver One. He growls, dodging a flame Xaden misses. You already walk the edge. My arm... My God! Oh my God. Sorry. Cat just doing nothing but scratching himself this entire time. My arms shake as I lift them again. This is the only way I can save them. I can save Sigale. You just have to decide to live, Terran, even if I don't. I will not watch another writer die because they do not know their own limitations. One more strike could be your last. I feel your waning strength. I know exactly what I'm capable of. I promise, as energy fills my body once again, and my heart jolts, struggling to find the right rhythm. Hot. I'm so damned hot. I feel like I could burst into flame myself. I've taken too much power. I'm not Naolin. Fear threatens to consume me as the venom rides at us, close enough that I can see his snarling mouth. But it's not my terror, it's Terran's. Let me help, Andarna shouts as my heart swells even as it stutters from the energy flowing through my veins. I don't have time to look to see where she is. I only hope she's still at the outpost. Only what I need, I say to her. I swallow hard, my good hand clutching the blood-tipped dagger as we fly toward the wall of wyvern. I reach for her golden power and it spreads down my spine and explodes through me, time pausing around us. Terran flares his wings, bringing us to a hover as the wyvern moved towards us inch by precious inch, fighting against Andarna's magic with their own. I have to want to kill that venom, and God's help me, I do. Now, I push my arms towards the venom, command lightning to split the sky, and it does, branching out in every direction. But I only need to control one of its silver-blue veins. I focus on the one closest to the venom, bringing it down to in slow bursts that defy time. My arms vibrate, and I feel Terran's power push the boundaries of my body as I yank the branch sideways in its descent, inch by inch, with the last of my strength positioning it over the venom. More, Terran! He roars, and lightning itself rips through me, sizzling my lungs and charring my very breath as Andarna's gift ebbs. I don't have to be near her to feel her fatigue, her strength ebbing. But I only take what I need, and Darna will live today, even if she is the only one. I have only a few heartbeats, or this much power will burn through me and take me under. Xaden screams through the barrier in my mind, and the sounds of his anguish and fear are nearly more than I can bear. But there's no time to focus on him, no one to wonder what will happen if I don't succeed. Because right now, I'm focused on vengeance with a coldness that would make even my mother proud. Finally dragging the lightning down into place as my skin sizzles and burns, I release time and hold myself upright long enough to see it strike true, killing the venom at the first touch of its energy. As if time were still frozen, his body slowly topples from the top of his wyvern. In the next breath, more than half of the monsters fall from the sky, as if they were struck themselves, And, as if it had been waiting for me to accomplish my goal, the wound at my side threatens to burn me alive. On the left, Terran roars, swinging towards the wyvern and its rider as they barrel towards us with murder in their eyes. A hope of shadow flies up. A rope of shadow flies. A rope of shadow flies up, wrapping around the Venon's neck as Terran banks left to avoid the hit, and I barely manage to keep my seat. Xaden pulls the Venom from the wyvern's back and yanks him downward, right into the dagger he holds in his outstretched hand. Damn, sometimes I forgot just how beautifully lethal he is. Knowing they'll all live, I let gravity claim my body and slide from Terran's back. Violet! I hear Xaden scream as I fall. Oh my god, the timing for the music. Alright, that's the end for chapter 37. We'll come back in a little bit to finish or to continue 38. Let me mark that time real quick. Alright, so I will be back in a little bit after a little break, and we will continue with chapter 38. Alright. Here we go. Chapter 38. Alrighty. Chapter 38. I think. Whoop. Let me move my mic. I think I might die today. Air rushes by, and my stomach feels like it's somewhere above me. Because I'm falling. Endlessly falling. Terran roars, and it's the panic, the pitch of that bellow, that forces my eyes open, just long enough to see him diving for me. But I can't feel him in my head. Can't feel him on my feet, on the archive floor. Can't access my power. I'm cut off. No longer grounded. My back slams into something, knocking the breath out of my lungs, slowing my descent, but not stopping it. And shimmering gold rises and ebbs around me. Wind still, the cries of mayhem and destruction pause, and the burn inside rages on, consuming me with fiery teeth. Time. And Darna has stopped time with what strength she has left. I'm on her back, falling, because she isn't strong enough to carry me, but she's brave enough to fly into this battle. Now my eyes are burning too. She shouldn't be here. She should be tucked away in the outpost, safe from the wyvern 3 times her size. Are there any wyvern left? Did we get them all? When time starts again, wind whipping at my exposed skin, I slip from her back and I'm gathered close by strong human arms. Violet! I know that deep panic voice. Xaden. But I can't move, can't even force my lips apart to scream with the pain of it all when he puts pressure on the wound. Fuck, it must be poison. You have to fight it. Poison, the green-tipped dagger. But what poison could paralyze me not only physically but magically? I'll take care of you. Just live. Please, live. Of course he wants me to live. I'm integral to his survival. It takes all my strength, but I manage to lift my eyelids for a second, and the blatant fear in his eyes jolts my heart before I lose consciousness. Maybe it isn't poison, someone says in a deep voice as I wake, but can't pry my eyes open. Garrick, maybe? Gods, everything hurts. Maybe it's magic. Did you see the way she whipped that lightning straight at the Venon's head? Someone asks. Not now. Not now, Bodhi practically growls. She saved your fucking life. She saved all of our lives. But I didn't. Soliel and Liam are dead. Her blood is fucking black, Xaden snaps, and his arms tighten, holding me to his chest. It has to be poison, Imogen cries. A sound I've never heard from her. Look at it. We have to get her back to Bezgaeth. Nolan might be able to help. Yes, Nolan. They need to get me to they need to take me to Nolan, but I can't say it. Can't make my lips move. Can't even reach out along the mental pathways that have become so as familiar to me as breathing. Being cut off from Terran, from Andarna, from Xaden is a torture all on its own. That's a 12-hour flight, Xaden's voice rises, and I'm pretty sure her arm is broken. I'll be dead in 12 hours. The promise of sweet oblivion already hovers at the edge of my consciousness, a promise of peace if I agree to just let go. There's somewhere closer, Xaden says quietly, and I feel his fingers skim over my cheek. The motion is unnervingly tender. Another wave of fire consumes me, singeing every nerve, but all I can do is lie there and take it. Make it stop. Gods, make it stop. You can't be serious, someone's voice lowers in a hiss. You'll put everything at risk, Garrick warns as sleep tugs at me, the only escape from the searing pain. Terran bellows so loudly my ribcage vibrates. At least he's close. I wouldn't say that again, Imogen mutters, or he'll probably eat you. And don't forget, if she dies, there's a damn good chance Xaden does too. I'm not saying he shouldn't, just reminding him what the stakes are, Garrick replies. Can Terran feel the disconnect between us? Is he suffering the same way I am? Was the sword poisoned too? Can Adarna fly, or does she need to sleep? Sleep, that's what I want. Cool, blissful, empty sleep. I don't give a fuck what happens to me, Xaden yells at someone. We are going, and that's an order. No need for orders, man. We'll save her. That's Bodhi, I think. Live up to your nickname and fight this violence, Xaden whispers against my ear. Then he says louder to someone further away. We have to get her to him. We ride. I feel the shift as he begins to walk, but the agony of movement against the wound isn't too much, and I fade into blackness. Hours pass before I wake again. Maybe seconds, maybe days, maybe it's forever, and I've been sentenced to an eternity of torture by Malik for my sheer recklessness. But I can't bring myself to regret saving them. Maybe it's better if I die, but then Xaden might die. Whatever is wedged between us right now, I don't want him dead. I'll never want that. A steady rush of wind at my face and the rhythmic beat of wings tells me we're flying, and it takes all the energy I have to lift a single eyelid as we pass over the cliffs of Draelor. The 1,000-foot drop is unmistakable. It's what made the Tyrus rebellion not only possible, but nearly successful. The poison scorches every vein, every nerve ending in my body as it runs through me unchecked, slowing my heartbeat. Even the irony that I'm going to die by poison, something I have unparalleled knowledge of, can't make me muster the energy to speak. To offer any thoughts on an antidote. How can I when I don't even know what's being used on me? Until a few hours ago, I didn't even know venom existed outside the fables. And now, there's nothing but pain and death. It's only a matter of time, and mine is short. Death would be preferable to existing for another second in this pyre of a body. And it's apparently a mercy I'm not allowed as I'm jostled awake. Air. It's not enough air. My lungs struggle to inhale. You sure about this? Imogen asks. Each step Xaden brings a new wave of agony that starts in my side and ripples through my whole body. Stop fucking asking him, Garrick snaps. He made his decision, support him, and get the fuck out, Imogen. And it's a bad one, another man retorts. When you have 107 scars on your back, then you get to make the fucking decisions, Sierran. Bodhi snarls. Terran's roar startles me, and I twitch, which only intensifies the already indescribable torture racking my body. What was that? Garen asks from somewhere to the left. He basically said that he'll cook me alive if I fail, Xaden replies, holding me close. I guess that part of the bond is still in place. My cheek falls against his shoulder, and I swear I feel him brush a kiss over my forehead, and that can't be right. But that can't be right. You don't keep secrets from someone you care about, let alone secrets that are going to cost me my life any second if the stuttering beat of my heart is any indication. It's struggling to pump the liquid fire that's cauterizing my veins. Gods, I wish he'd just let me die. I deserve it. I'm the reason Liam is dead. I'm so weak-minded that I didn't even realize Dane took my memories and used them against me, against Liam. You have to fight it, Vi. Xaden whispers against my forehead as we move. You can hate me all you want when you wake up. You can scream, hit, throw your fucking daggers at me for all I care, but you have to live. You can't make me fall for you and then die. None of this is worth it without you. He sounds so sincere, and I almost believe him. Which is exactly what got me into this situation in the first place. Xaden? A familiar voice calls out, but I can't place it. Bodhi, maybe? One of the second years? So many strangers and no friends. Liam is dead. You have to save her. Alright, that's the end of chapter 38. That was a quick chapter. I think this next chapter is also a... No, it's not a quick chapter. Alright. Sorry, I was starting to cry there. Alrighty. I will be back in a little bit, and we will read chapter 39, which is a Xaden POV chapter, by the way. Alright. Alright. So I will warn everybody, this is probably going to be a short stream today. Because, I mean, it's only been an hour and 8 minutes and we're already 2 chapters down. Yeah. So, let's get into chapter 39. This is the last official chapter, and it is a Xaden point of view, just to let everybody know. Alright. She'll be alright. Sigale's voice is gentler than she's ever deigned to use with me. Then again, she didn't choose me because I needed coddling. She chose me for the scars on my back and the simple fact that I am the grandson of her second rider. The one who didn't make it through the quadrant. You don't know that she'll be alright. No one does. It's been 3 fucking days, and Violet hasn't woken up. 3 never-ending days I've spent in this armchair, walking a knife's edge between sanity and madness. Studying every rise and fall of her chest, just to be sure she's still breathing. My lungs only fill when hers do, and the time between my heartbeats is filled with sharp, all-consuming fear. She's never looked fragile to me, but she does now, lying in the middle of my bed, her lips pale and chapped, the ends of her hair duller than their usual blade-like hue. For 3 days, everything about her has felt as though the life has leached from her body, only a shadow of her soul left beneath her skin. But today, at least the morning light shows her cheeks have a little more color along the darker line of her flight goggles than yesterday. I'm a fucking fool. I should have left her at Bezgaya, or sent her with Atos, even if it strained Sigale and Terran. She never should have suffered the punishment Colonel Atos delivered, for a crime she didn't even know I was committing, didn't even suspect. I run a hand through my hair. She wasn't the only one who suffered. Liam would be alive. Liam. Guilt pairs with a soul-sucking grief, and I can barely inhale around the pain in my chest. I'd ordered my foster brother to keep her safe, and that order got him killed. His death is on me. I should have known what was waiting for us at Aspen. You should have told her about the venom. I waited for you to impart that information, and now she's suffering. Terran growls. The dragon is the living, fire-breathing embodiment of my shame. But at least the bond that links the 4 of us is still in place, even if he can't communicate with her, which means Violet's alive. He can yell at me all he wants, as long as her heart's beating. I should have done a lot of things differently. What I shouldn't have done was fought my feelings for her. I should have grabbed onto her after that first kiss the way I wanted and kept her at my side. Should have let her all the way in. My eyelids scratch like sandpaper each time I blink, but I'm fighting sleep with every bone in my body. Sleep is where I hear her heartbreaking scream, hear her cry that Liam died, hear her call me a fucking traitor over and over. She can't die, and not just because there's a chance I won't survive. She can't die because I know I can't live without her even if I do. Somewhere between the shock of our attraction at the top of that turret to realizing she risked her own life by giving up a boot for someone else on the parapet that first day to her throwing those daggers at my head under the oak tree, I wavered. I should have realized the danger of getting too close the first time I put her on her back and showed her how easily she could kill me on the mat. A vulnerability I've allowed no one else. But I brushed it off as an undeniable attraction to to a uniquely beautiful woman. When I watched her conquer the gauntlet, then defend Andarna at threshing, I stumbled, stunned by both her cunning and her sense of honor. When I burst into her room and found Oren's treacherous hands at her throat, the rage that made it so easy to kill all 6 of them without batting an eye should have told me I was headed for a cliff. And when she smiled at me after mastering her shield in mere minutes, her face lighting up as the snow fell around us, I fucking fell. We hadn't even kissed and I fell. Or maybe it was when she threw her knives at Barlow, or when jealousy ate me alive, seeing Atos kiss the mouth I dreamed about countless times. Looking back, there were 1,000 tiny moments that pulled me over the edge for the woman asleep in the bed I always pictured her in. Sorry. And I never told her, not until she was delirious with poison. Why? Because I was scared to give her power over me when she already held it all. Because she's Lilith Sorengale's daughter. Because she kept giving Atos second and third chances. No, because I couldn't give her those words without being totally, completely honest with her, and after the way she looked at me at the lake, the utter betrayal. The rustle of sheets makes my gaze whip to her face, and I take my first full breath since she fell from Taryn's back. Her eyes are open. You're awake. My voice sounds like it's been dragged across gravel when I thought it'd only been bleh. God damn it. My voice sounds like it's been dragged across gravel when I thought it'd only been my heart. I stagger to my feet and take the 2 steps that separate me from her bedside. She's awake. She's alive. She's smiling? That must be a trick of the light. This woman likely wants to set me on fire. Can I check your side? The mattress depresses slightly as I sit near her hip. She nods and stretches her arm up like a cat who's been napping in the sun before reaching for the blankets. Drawing back the covers, I untie the robe covering the short nightdress I changed her into the first evening and slowly lift the hem around the silken skin of her hip. Preparing myself for the black tendrils that discolored her veins during the flight but receded slowly since we arrived, there's nothing. Just a thin silver line an inch above her hip bone. Air gushes from my lungs in relief. Miraculous. What's miraculous? She croaks, looking down at her new scar. Shit. I would be a horrible healer. Water. My hand shake with exhaustion or relief. I don't even care which, as I pour a glass from the pitcher on my bedside table. You must be parched. She pushes herself to sit, then takes the glass, drinking the entire thing down. Thanks. You are... I set the empty glass on the nightstand, and then turned back to her, gazing into the hazel eyes that have haunted me since Parapet. You are miraculous. I finish in a whisper. I was fucking terrified, Violet. There aren't adequate words. I'm fine, Xaden. She says softly, her hands rising to rest above my pounding heart. I thought I was going to lose you. The confession comes out strangled, and maybe it's pushing my luck after all I've put her through, and I can't keep from leaning forward and brushing my lips over her forehead. Then her temple. Gods, I'd kiss her forever if I thought it would keep the coming argument at bay. Keep us in this once pristine moment where I can actually believe that everything might be all right between us. That I haven't irrevocably fucked up the best thing that's ever happened to me. You aren't going to lose me. She gives me a puzzled look, smiling like I've said something peculiar words. Then she leans in and kisses me. She still wants me. The revelation makes my heart fucking sore. I take the kiss deeper, swiping my tongue over her soft lower lip and gently sucking on the tender curve. That's all it takes for need to flood my system, hot and demanding. It's always like this between us. The slightest spark sets off the wildfire that consumes every thought that isn't related to how many ways I can make her moan. We'll have a lifetime of these moments ahead of us when I can strip her down to her skin and worship every curve and hollow of her body. But this isn't one of them. Not when she's barely been awake for 5 minutes. I draw back, slowly releasing her mouth. I'll make it up to you, I promise, holding her delicate hands between my rough ones. I'm not saying we won't fight, or you won't want to throw daggers at me when I'm inevitably an ass, but I swear I will always strive to do better. Make what up to me? She pulls away with an inquisitive smile. I blink as my brows furrow. Has she lost her memories? How much do you remember? By the time we got you here, the poison had spread to your brain, and... Her eyes flare, and something shifts, something that sinks my stomach like a rock, as she tugs her hands from mine. She glances away, and her eyes glaze in that way that she tells me she's checking in with her dragons. Don't panic, everything's fine. And Darna is quite the same, but she's her. She's fucking huge now. But I'm not about to say that to Violet. Her gift is also gone, according to Taryn, but there's plenty of time to share that news. Instead, I say, the healer told me he isn't sure what lasting effects the poison might have, because it was something he's never seen, and no one really knows how long it will take to get your memories back if there's any lasting damage, but I'll tell you. She throws up her hand and looks around the room, as if noticing where we are for the first time. Then scrambles backward out of bed, pulling her robe closed, then looks in the look in her eyes puts a vice around my chest as she stumbles to the large windows that line my bedchamber. The windows that look out over the mountains this fortress is built upon, down to the valley below, and its line of charred trees marking where the earth was scorched, all the way to stone and the quiet town which used to be a city of Arietta beneath us. Or Orisha, sorry. The town we've worked our asses off to rebuild from a pile of cinder and ruins. Violet, I keep my shields up, trying to respect her privacy as I walk to her side, but gods, I need to know what she's thinking. Her eyes widen as her gaze sweeps over the town, each structure with its identical green roofs, then pauses on the Temple of Amari, which was the most noted landmark besides our library. Where are we? And don't you dare lie to me, she says. Not again. Not again. You remember? I remember. Thank gods, I murmur, shoving my hand into my hair. It's a good thing proving that she's truly healed, but fuck. Where are we? She bites out every word, her eyes narrowing on me. Say it. The way you're looking at me says you already know. There's no way this brilliant woman doesn't already recognize that temple. This looks like Orisha. She gestures to the window. There's only one temple with those particular columns. I've seen the drawings. Yes. Brilliant fucking woman. Orisha was burned to the ground. I've seen those drawings too. The ones the scribes brought back for public notices. My mother told me she saw the embers on her own with her own eyes. So where are we? Her voice rises. Orisha. It feels incredibly freeing to tell her the truth. Rebuilt or never burnt. She turns her back on me in the process of rebuilding. Why haven't I read about this? I start to tell her, but she holds up a hand and I wait. It only takes her a minute to work it out too. She points to my rebellion relic and says, Melgren can't see the outcome when more than 3 of you are together. That's why you're not allowed to assemble. I can't help it. I smile. This brilliant fucking woman is mine, or was mine. Will be mine again if I have anything to say about it. Which I probably don't. I sigh, losing the smile immediately. Fuck. No, if I'm going to give up, no, I'm not going to give up until she tells me to. Things might be complicated, but so are both of us. That, and we're not big enough to warrant the attention of the scribes anymore. We're not hidden. We're just not advertising our existence. Which is also the reason this place is still technically mine. Nobles weren't exactly eager to throw their money at a scorched city or be taxed on unusable land. Eventually they'll notice. Eventually I'll lose it. Then I'll lose my head. You can know whatever you want. Just ask. She stiffens. Tell me one thing right now. Anything. Is... Her shoulders stutter as she inhales. Is Liam really dead? Liam. A fresh stab of sorrow pierces my ribs. Heartbeats pass in silence as I try to find the right words, but there aren't any. So I take from my pocket the palm-sized, freshly finished carving of Andarna Liam had been working on. She turns in my direction, her gaze immediately locking on the figurine, and her eyes water. It's my fault. No, it's mine. If I had just told you everything sooner, you would have been prepared. You probably would have schooled us all on how to kill them. My soul breaks all over again when she swipes at twin tears with the backs of her hands. I set the carving in her hand. I know I should have, but I couldn't bear to burn it. We laid him to rest yesterday. Well, the others did. I haven't left this room since we got here. Our gazes collide, and it's all I can do not to reach for her. But I know I'm the last I'm the last place she'll seek comfort. I haven't left you. Well, you do have a vested interest in my survival, she quips with a watery, sarcastic smile. Give me a second to get dressed, and we'll talk. Kicking me out of my own room? I reach for the sarcastic, teasing tone that used to be so easy when it came to her, and back away. New one. Now, Ryerson. I can't keep from wincing. She never uses my last name. Maybe it's because she doesn't like to remember that I'm Fen Ryerson's son, and all my father all my father had cost her. But I'm always been But I've always been Xaden to her. The loss feels like a bottomless abyss, like a death blow. Bathing chamber is through there. I point to the far wall and stride for the exit, swinging my sword over my back on the way out. My cousin is leaned up against the wall, talking to Garrick, who's boasting a new 6-inch scar from temple to jaw. But the both fall silent as I shut my door behind me. They tense and Garrick stands to his full height. She's awake? Thank Amari, Bodhi says, his shoulders sagging. His arm is still in a sling, recovering the 4 places Yvenin fractured it. She's going to have to choose. I look at Garrick, noting the worry in his eyes. He's already told me he thinks she'll keep our secret. That worry is for my mental state if she doesn't forgive me for not telling her sooner. She'll either keep our secret or she won't. That's something you'll have to figure out, he replies, and then teach her how to hide it from Atos if she chooses. Any word from the flyers? Serena is alive, if that's what you're asking, Bodhi asks. So is her sister, but the rest... He shakes his head. At least they made it out, and now that Violet is awake, I can finally breathe. You figure out what that box, was that, Crad, was drawn to back at Resson? I ask. Garrick's dragon is remarkably sensitive to runes, which allowed them to locate and retrieve the small iron box beneath the rubble of the clock tower. They're working on it right now. Hopefully we'll have an answer in the next couple of hours. I'm glad she's alright, Xaden. I'll tell the others. He nods once and heads down the hall, almost as familiar with the castle's layout as I am, considering he spent every summer here before the apostasy, or succession, as the Navarrians called Dad's rebellion. Funny how people rename everything that makes them feel uncomfortable. We lost faith that our king would ever do the right thing, and they call us traitors. Bodhi wrinkles his nose. What? You smell like dragon ass. Fuck off. I chance a whiff and can't argue. I'm using your room. I would consider it a personal favor. I extend my middle finger and head towards his room. An hour later, I'm bathed and impatient as I wait outside my room in a fresh set of leathers with Bodhi, who's doing his best to lighten my mood, just like he always does when the door opens and Violet stands there. I nearly swallow my tongue at the sight of her unbound, damp hair, curling just under her breasts. I can't even articulate what it is about the strands that pauses me straight into need to fuck her now territory. And I'm too busy fighting to keep my hands at my sides to question the why of it. She exists, and I get turned on. I've come to accept that particular truth over the last year. Bodhi grins, flashing a smile that looks exactly like my aunts used to. Good to see you are up and about, Sorrengail. Then he smacks me on the shoulder as he walks off, looking back over his shoulder. I'll fetch the backup plan. Good luck. Gods, I want to haul her into my arms and love her until she forgets everything except how good we are together. But I'm sure that's the last thing she'll ever want again. Come back in, she says softly, and my heart lurches. As long as you've invited me. I walk in, loathing the distrust in her eyes. Whether or not Violet will believe me, I've never lied to her. Not once. I've just never been entirely truthful either. Is all this original? She asks, her gaze sweeping over my bedroom. The majority of the fortress is stone, I say as she studies the detailed arches at the ceiling, the natural lighting from the windows that consume the western wall. Stone doesn't burn. Right. I swallow. Hard. I think after all you've seen, the question I have to ask before I tell you everything is pretty... sorry, let me restart that. I think after all you've seen, the question I have to ask before I tell you everything is pretty simple. Are you in? Are you willing to fight with us? She could just as easily decide to turn us all in. She didn't know enough to condemn us, but she does now. I'm in, she nods. Relief surges through me in a rush more powerful than anything I could channel from Sigil, and I reach for her. I'm so sorry I had to keep. My words die on my tongue as she steps back, avoiding me. Not happening. A world of hurt flashes in those hazel eyes, and I fucking wither. Just because I believe you and am willing to fight with you doesn't mean I'll trust you with my heart again. And I can't be with someone I don't trust. Something in my chest crumples. I've never lied to you, Violet. Not once. I never will. She walks over to the window and looks down, then slowly turns back to me. It's not even that you kept this from me. I get it. It's the ease with which you did it. The ease with which I let you into my heart and didn't get the same in return. She shakes her head, and I see it there. The love. But it's masked behind defenses I foolishly forced her to build. I love her. Of course I love her. But if I tell her now, she'll think I'm saying it for all the wrong reasons. And honestly, she'd be right. I'm not going to lose the only woman I've ever fallen for without a fight. You're right. I kept secrets. I admit. Pressing forward again, taking step after step until I'm less than a foot from her. I palm the glass on both sides of her head, loosely caging her in, but we both know she could walk away if she wanted. But she doesn't move. It took me a long time to trust you, and a long time to realize I fell for you. Someone knocks. I ignore it. Don't say that. She lifts her chin, and I don't miss the way she glances at my mouth. I fell for you. I lower my head and look straight into her gorgeous eyes. She might be rightfully pissed, but she sure as Malik is fickle. And you know what? You might not trust me anymore, but you still love me. Her lips part and she doesn't deny it. I gave you my trust for free once, and once is all you get. She masks the hurt with a quick blink. Never again. Those eyes will never reflect hurt I've inflicted ever again. I fucked up by not telling you sooner, and I won't even try to justify my reasons. But now, I'm trusting you with my life, and everyone's lives. I've risked it all by just bringing her here instead of taking her body back to Bezgaeth. I'll tell you anything you want and everything you don't. I'll spend every single day of my life earning your trust back. I'd forgotten what it felt like to be loved, really, truly loved. It'd been so many years since Dad died, and Mom not going there. But then Violet gave me those words and gave me her trust, her heart, and I remembered, I'll be damned if I don't fight to keep them. And if it's not possible, you still love me. It's possible. Gods, do I ache to kiss her, to remind her exactly what we are together, but I won't, not until she asks. I'm not afraid of hard work, especially not when I know just how sweet the rewards are. I would rather lose this entire war than live without you. And if that means I have to prove myself over and over, then I'll do it. You gave me your heart, and I'm keeping it. She already owns mine, and if she doesn't realize, or even if she doesn't realize it. Her eyes widen, as if she's finally seeing the resolve in mine. It's time she knew everything. Knowing Violet, she won't stay tucked away. Safe behind Bezgaeth's walls, especially not now that she knows just how corrupt those walls are. She'll fight this war at my side. There's another insistent knock at our door. Fuck if he's impatient, I mutter. You have about 20 seconds to ask a question, if I know him. She blinks. I'm still hoping that that missive at Athbin was really about the war games. Do you think there's any chance we just happened to end up in the middle of a wyvern attack at the outpost? That definitely wasn't an accident, little sister. Oh, sorry. That definitely wasn't an accident, little sister, he says from the doorway. I sigh and move to the side, watching Violet's eyes widen as she sees him standing in the doorway. Told you I knew better poison masters, I tell her softly. You weren't healed. You were mended. Brennan? She stares at her brother in open-mouthed shock. Brennan just grins and opens his arms. Welcome to the revolution, Violet. Alright. That was the end of, was that 39? Yeah, chapter 39, and technically the end of the book. But we do have 3 Xaden point of view chapters from 3 different spots in the book. So, even though technically Fourth Wing is over, we still have a little bit more to read. So I'm going to take a quick little break here at this moment. And we will come back in a little bit to read, what was it? It was Xaden's point of view of chapter 27. Alright. And for everybody who's watching on Twitch, I will be running a quick ad break, so I'll be back. Alright. Let's get into this. Alright, so this is chapter... There it is. Chapter 27 in Xaden's point of view. If you guys remember specifically, this is when they went to Montserrat. So this is Xaden's point of view for what happened at Montserrat. Dane Atos is dancing on my last fucking nerve. Between the petty comments he's been making all afternoon and what I'm sure he thinks as menacing glares, I'm ready to lean over and introduce his face to the Montserrat briefing table. But Violence wouldn't like that, and as satisfying as it would be to hear his nose crunch against the polished wood, I'm not about to do anything that could end this little training session early and jeopardize Imogen's mission. Should her squad realize she isn't actually vomiting in the infirmary. Not that the healer would remember her ever being there, thanks to Imogen's handy little signet. If she's on schedule, she'll be on her way back from delivering the drop I brought with me. The thought makes me reinforce my shields just in case Dane acts on the threat in his eyes. I'm not letting that fucker's hands anywhere near me. So all we do is wait for something to happen? Riddick Gamley asks Riddick Gamley asks, by Dune, did he just put his dirty-ass boots on the briefing table? Yes, the older Sorrengail sister answers, from the head of the table to my left, then gestures with her right hand knocking Gamley on his ass, with lesser magic. And keep your feet off the table. The taller of the riders stationed here chuckles and updates the battle map behind Violet's sister. But his face falls quickly, his eyes narrowing with suspicion when he catches me watching him. I scratch my neck at the top of my collar, right over my relic, and hold his gaze until he drops it. Shit, like that is why I keep my inconvenient feelings about Violet to my damn self. No matter how good she looks today, or how delectable she smells sitting right next to me. Like some kind of citrus that makes me want to bury my face in the side of her neck and see just how pink I can get her cheeks to flush. No, if I did that, every writer in this room would look at her differently, and not in a good way. Leave it to me to fall for the one woman on the continent I can never fucking have. Still, I put myself right between her and Liam, ignoring his knowingly little smirk. When I took the chair closest to Violet. There's nothing going on, but he can back the fuck up when I'm around. Consider this your battle brief, Mira Sorrengail lectures as Gamley scurries back to his chair at the foot of the table. This morning was about a quarter of the patrol we'd regularly fly. So normally we'd just be getting back about now and reporting our findings to the commander. But for the sake of killing time, since we're in this room, as the reaction fight for this afternoon, let's pretend we'd come across a newly fortified enemy outpost crossing our border. She pivots to the map and marks a nearby location with a red flag. Here. Atos is too busy glaring at me to look, so I settle back in my seat and do what I do best, stare right back. We're supposed to pretend it just popped up overnight. There's a little snark in Emery Barnes' tone, but I keep my attention on making Dane as uncomfortable as possible, just for fun. For the sake of argument, third year, Mira retorts. Dane's hand curls into a fist on the tabletop, and a corner of my mouth rises. He's pathetically easy to rile. I like this game. The shorter of the lieutenants stationed here comments from Mira's side. What would our objective be? Mira asks. Atos? Dean startles and jerks his focus to the map. I win. What type of fortifications are there? Are we talking a haphazard wooden structure or something more substantial? At least he's good at at least he asks good questions. Like they had time to build a fortress overnight, Riddick quips. It has to be wooden, right? You are all so fucking literal. Mira rubs at her forehead like we're a headache she can't kick. Fine, let's say they occupied a keep that's already established, stone and all. Which means there would be civilians or possibly prisoners inside. Wide-scale dragon fire is out. Fine. Liam scouts out their defenses. Then I wide-scale dragon fire is out. Fine. Liam scouts out their defenses, and then I drench the place in shadow for our assault. Half of us dismount while the other half takes out the griffins in the air, and I mount in darkness below to free the prisoners while Emery directs controlled blast of fire by air wielding, using Quinn as a scout. My mind runs through 3 other battle strategies, then stutters on a 4th as I glance in Violet's direction and catch her lips pursing in concentration. Gods, that mouth. I dream about that mouth, fantasize about that mouth. That kiss is burned into my memory like a relic taunting me with what will never happen again. With what I never should have tasted in the first place. Mira and Quinn start arguing about the scenario parameters, and I force my attention back to the briefing. How many of you have been called out as 3rd years? Mira folds her arms. Emery raises his hand, and I lift a couple of fingers. Violet's eyebrows rise, and she stays quiet, just like she has been all afternoon. I crack open my shields just enough to sense that wispy silver bond that's been steadily growing between the 2 of us, the one she hasn't noticed yet. I told you, it's been known to happen between the writers of bonded pairs. Sigale reminds me, annoyance sharpening her tone. And has Taryn told her? I ask, to which she doesn't bother replying. Dane turns a shade that reminds me of a tomato. That's not correct. We're never called into service until graduation. I bite back a laugh and offer him a sarcastic thumbs up. Yeah, alright. Emery huffs a laugh. Just wait until next year. I can't count how many times we're the ones sitting in these very rooms in the Midland forts because their writers have been called into front for an emergency. Atos pales. If he knew half of what's actually happening beyond the borders, he'd probably pass out. Now that's settled, Mira sets a 6-inch model of a stone keep in the center of the table. Catch. She warns before throwing each of us a wooden replica of a dragon. Yours are better, I whisper under my breath to Liam. I know. He grins, running his thumb over the chunky wings of the figure. Pretend Messina and Exal don't exist back there, and we're the only squad available to take back that keep, Mira orders. Think of the power in this room. Think of what each individual writer brings to the table, and how you'd use those powers in unison to conquer your objective. But they don't teach that to first years, Liam says, like he hasn't been taught battle strategy since we were kids. Llewellyn made sure of it once he took guardianship of us after the execution. Mira's gaze drops to the rebelling relic on Liam's wrist, and I lift my chin. They'd better get used to us being in rooms like this, because we're here to stay. At least until we get Orish's forges up and running. Violet clears her throat, and Mira's gaze shifts to her little sister, her eyes flaring before focusing back on Liam. My chest tightens, annoyingly. Whatever look Violet shot her sister, it was obviously in our defense. And damn if that doesn't hit me straight between the ribs. They might not teach you this battle strategy as first years because you're all busy trying to stay on your dragons. Oh, me. So I was gonna turn the music down a little bit. I don't even think that did anything. You had your first taste of strategy during the squad battle, and it's almost May, which means final war games should be beginning, right? 2 weeks, Dane informs her, like he needs to remind everyone he's still at the table. Good thing, then. Not all of you will survive the games if you're not prepared. Mira's gaze lingers on Violet, long enough to prick my temper. Of all the people in this room, Mira should know how capable Violet is. This kind of thinking will give your squad, your entire wing, an advantage, since I guarantee your wing leader is already assessing every rider for their own abilities. I roll the dragon figurine over my knuckles and keep my mouth shut, since I'm not supposed to be here. So let's do this. Mira backs up, and I glance around the table, curiosity setting my attention on Atos, who is in command. And let's pretend that I don't have 3 years of seniority on even the highest ranked of you. Then I'm in command. Atos sits up stiffly, like someone's called formation. To my credit, I don't laugh. Our wing leader is here. Liam points in my direction. I would say that puts him in command. The wispy silver bond solidifies. An emotion, pride, dancing down the pathway even though Violet doesn't move a muscle. Holy shit, we really are connected. This could be dangerous, reckless, an unaffordable distraction? Sigale snaps, and I swear I hear her teeth clash. Fun. There's no denying the bond between us when it's shining at me like a fucking mage light. We can pretend I'm not here, just for the sake of the exercise. I put my figurine on the table and settle in my chair. Then wrap my arm around the back of Violet's seat and enjoy the sight of Dane grinding his teeth. Give Atos here the position we all know he craves. His jaw flexes, and I leave my arm planted like a battle marker. The command he can have. I'm mildly curious to see what he does with it, but that's the only position I'm seceding to the spoiled whiner. Don't be a dick, Violet whispers. You haven't even seen me start to be a dick. I send the words down the bond. Her head whips towards mine, her lips parting as she openly gawks at me. It worked. My heart stumbles, and I bite back a laugh. I was wrong. This isn't just fun. It's instantly vital to my existence. I turn toward her, letting a corner of my mouth rise, and look straight into those hypnotic hazel eyes. You're staring. It's going to get awkward in about 30 seconds if you don't stop. How? She spits out the whisper, like an accusation. The same way you talk to Sigale. We're all gloriously, annoyingly linked. This is just one of the perks. Though, I'm starting to wish I'd tried it sooner. The look on your face is priceless. I wink and turn my attention back to the seething pot of jealousy boiling over across the table. You're the wing leader. Dane chokes out the words, and I can't help but wonder if he's submitting to my rank or accusing me of inappropriate behavior with a subordinate. Not that I give a fuck either way, but if it were safe for Violet, I'd be ecstatically guilty of inappropriate behavior, wickedly inappropriate, in my bed, in hers, on a table in the archives. in the bathing chamber, and every room with a door to lock so no one else can see what's mine. I'd be so decadently inappropriate that her voice would turn hoarse from screaming my name every single day. But though she'd be the best thing that ever happened to me, I'd be the worst thing that ever happened to her. The truth of it sinks like a stone in my stomach. I'm not even supposed to be here, I shrug. But if it makes you feel better, for the purpose of war games, you'd be getting your orders from your section leader, Garrick Tavis, which he'd get from me. You'll be carrying on your maneuvers as a squad for the good of the wing. Just pretend I'm another member of your squad and use me as you wish, Atos. I withdraw my hold on Violet's chair and cross my arms. Why are you even here? Dane whines. No offense, sir, but we weren't exactly expecting senior leadership on this trip. Yes, why are you here? Xaden doesn't disguise the mockery in her tone. You're more than aware that Xaden and Terran are mated. My voice stays respectively level. It was your idea to bring the daggers. I'm careful to only speak down Xaden's bond. It seemed a prudent course of action, considering your insufferable intolerance to being separated from the general's daughter. She huffs. 3 days? Dane fires back, leaning in. You couldn't make it 3 days? Insufferable? That's a bit far. Where's Violet now? She mocks. What is she doing? Is she thinking of me? Is she missing me? Is she getting closer to Atos? Does she dream about that kiss? How many days until Violet's point fucking taken? She's going to be unbearable on the flight home. It has nothing to do with him. Violet slams her dragon figurine on the table. It's up to Terran and Xaden. And there she goes again, defending me. Fuck, I love this woman. You never considered that it was you I couldn't stay away from? I ask her. She jabs the point of her elbow into my bicep, and I fight the upward curve of my mouth. I love that she isn't scared of me. That she'll call me out in a way no one else besides Xaden does. Everything she does, even blatantly elbowing me in front of her squad, turns me on. I'm fucked on every level known to man when it comes to Violet Sorrengail. Now you'll give our little communications Now you'll give our little communications secret away if you can't keep from being so violent. Of course you rush to defend him, Dane whines yet again. Though, how can you forget that this guy wanted to kill you 6 months ago is beyond me. He's not lying, but that was when I hated the idea of her, before I knew her, loved her. Violet stiffens. I cannot believe you went there. The hurt in her tone sets my teeth on edge. Good job remaining professional, Atos. I scratch the relic on my neck to remind him exactly who the fuck I am. Really shows those leadership qualities to the best advantage. A rider stationed here whistles. Do you boys just want to whip it out and measure? It would be faster. Liam stifles what's obviously a laugh, and I shoot him a sideways look. Enough! The table vibrates as Mira slams her hands on the surface. Oh, come on, Sorrengail, the shorter rider on her left whines jokingly, and both Sorrengails glance his way. I mean, the older Sorrengail. This is the best entertainment we've had in ages. Violet shakes her head, clearly having had enough. Mira has the ability to extend the shield if the wards are down, so the first thing I would do is send her to scout the area with Tyne. We need to know if we're dealing with infantry or Griffin riders. Excellent point. I hadn't considered Mira in my own calculation. Good. Mira sets her dragon close to the castle. Now, let's assume they are griffins. Speaking of griffins, I say to Xaden, any news from Glane? Still out of range, she replies. Sending Imogen an hour south towards the Braverick borders was a calculated risk, even that I hadn't had much time to get a message to Serena and her drift. But rendezvousing there was a far better choice than risking her being caught by Cygnus flyers. Cygnus flyers would take the daggers and then kill Imogen to make a point. Stubborn assholes. You want to do your job? Violet's smile practically drips venomous sugar as she shouts it at Dane. I mean, how you can forget you're the squad leader is beyond me. Fucking love her. Let me reposition my seat. His knuckles whiten around his figurine. Quinn, can you astral project from the back of your dragon? Yes, she answers. Then I would have you project into the fortress to check for signs of weakness, Dane says, and have you report back. Same with Liam. We'd use your far sight to see if you can locate where the Griffin riders are and if there are any traps. Good. The weaknesses are the wooden gate, Mira adds as two cadets move their figurines, and the Navarian citizens they have captive in the dungeons. So much for blasting the whole place, Riddick mutters. You're an air wielder, right? Dane asks Emery. So can you shape your dragon's flames, lead them through the occupied parts of the keep without killing civilians? Yes, Emery answers with a nod. But I'd have to be in the keep. Then you'll have to get into the keep. Mira's shoulders rise and fall in a shrug. Emery's eyes flare. You want me to leave my dragon and go on foot? Why do you think we get all the hand-to-hand training? Or are you going to leave all those innocent people to die? Mira flicks her wrist and Emery's dragon goes flying up into the air. Mira catches it, then sets it in the center of the model. The real question is, how do we get you close enough without getting you killed? Since I'm guessing the others will be busy fighting off the Griffins that launch once the fireworks start. What's your signet, Atos? Quinn asks. Above your pay grade, Dane answers. Does he actually think that? Or is he so brainwashed by Daddy that he doesn't see they're going to use him as a weapon against other riders? He looks at every cadet except me, then sighs. Any ideas? Violet shakes her head and then says, Sure! She snatches my dragon and pushes it at the keep. Flaring her hand so the figurine levitates above the model. I should be impressed. It's just lesser magic, but damn, she's sexy when she takes charge. You stop ignoring that you have an incredibly powerful shadow wielder at your disposal and ask him to black out the area so no one sees you land. Spot on. She's not wrong, Mira bites the words out. You can do that? Ato slowly looks in my direction. Are you seriously asking? I reach for Sigale's power, and it pours into my veins. Just wasn't sure you could cover an area that I lift my palms just enough to clear the table and summon the cooling darkness of the shadows. They stream out from underneath the table and blanket the room in less than a heartbeat, devouring all traces of light. Panic skitters down the silver bond. Relax, it's just me. I crook my fingers, and a strand of shadow solidifies to skim along Violet's cheek. Fuck me, a rider to the left says. I can surround this entire outpost, but I think that might freak some people out. I close my hands, and the shadows jolt back into their natural state, letting light pour in through the windows. Damn, that was fun. It was even worth the threat assessment the threat assessment I'm getting from Mira. Violet tenses like she spotted it too. I hope you didn't get any ideas while we were in the dark there. She lifts her middle finger without even looking my way, and a laugh sneaks past my lips as Mira leads us through the rest of the exercise. Good job, Mira finally says, checking the time. Atos, Ryerson, and Sorengale. I want to see you in the hallway. The rest of you are dismissed. This should be fun. She leads the way that shuts the door behind us once we're in the staircase, and throws a blue wave of energy over the doorway. It's an interesting use of power, but I'm more than capable of constructing a colorless one for the sake of privacy. Sound shield. Dane smiles. Nice. What a suck-up. Shut up. Mira pivots a few steps above me, one above Violet, and shoves a finger in Atos's face. I don't know what bug has crawled up your ass, Dane Atos, but have you forgotten you're a squad leader? That you have a very real chance of being a wing leader next year? God's help every cadet if that happens. Violet retreats a step in my direction, and my brow furrows. Sibling dynamics are something I'll never understand. Mira, Atos begins. Lieutenant Sorengale, Mira interrupts. You're blowing it, Dane. I know how badly you want his job next year. She swings that finger towards me. Don't forget that we've grown up 10 feet apart, and you're blowing it. Because what? You're pissed that Violet bonded his dragon's mate? Harsh, but I respect her candor. He is the worst possible thing for her. Dane raises his voice. Huh? Guess we actually agree on something. Oh, I'm not arguing that. Mira invades his space. But there's nothing anyone can do about the choices of dragons. They don't bother with the opinions of mere humans, do they? But whatever is going on between the two of you, her finger flies between Violet and Atos, is fucking up your squad. If I can see it after 4 days with you, then they sure as hell can. And if I'd known that you were going to be such a hard ass with zero flexibility for the things she can't control, I never would have told her to find you after crossing the parapet. You two have been best friends since you were 5 years old. Figure your shit out. The last part is directed at them both. Dane stiffens, then looks Violet's way and nods, which she returns. An irrationally ugly feeling soars my stomach. Then they have the kind of history that lingers, the kind that has me really contemplating the word jealousy. Glane approaches from the south, Sagale tells me. They were successful. Thank you. Thank you. Now to get Imogen to the infirmary, and no one will realize she's even been missing. Good. Now get back in there. Mira nods towards the door, and Dane departs, heading through the shield. And as for you, she descends 2 stairs and narrows her eyes on me. Is this what she can expect next year? Atos being an asshole? I keep my hands off my weapons. Killing Mira might appease the burning need for revenge I've learned to live with, but it's not worth upsetting Violet or dealing with the oldest Sorengale sibling either. Probably. Mira glares at me, and the resemblance to her mother is uncanny. Mated dragons typically bond riders in the same year, for a reason. You cannot expect your assigned wing or her instructors to let you both fly off every 3 days. Wasn't my choice, I shrug. Lying is easy, except when it comes to Violet. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. What are we supposed to do? Tell the giant flame-throwing dragons how it's going to be? Violet questions. Yes, Mira shouts, facing her sister. Because you can't live this way, Violet. You'll be the one who ends up missing the training you need because he's the more powerful of the two of you right now. But if you don't focus on your training, then that's how it will always be. You won't ever become who Terran can push you to be. Is that what you're after, Ryerson? My gut twists with anger. The power rushes through me. Fuck it. Violet would get over her sister's death eventually. Mira, Violet whispers and shakes her head. You're wrong about him. Only in some ways. The beaten organ behind my ribs soothes the anger, and my power recedes. Listen to me. Mira grabs Violet's shoulder. He might wield shadows, Violet, but give him his way, and you'll become one. And the power races back, shadows pulsing at the edges of the stairwell. I'm the one pushing Violet instead of babying her. If Atos had his way, she'd be smothered in cream robes. That won't happen, Violet vows. It will if he has anything to say about it. Mira pins a look on me that I don't appreciate. Killing someone isn't the only way to destroy them. Keeping you from reaching your potential seems like a great path to the retribution he swore against our mother. Think long and hard. How well do you even really know him? Violet's swift intake of breath slices like a knife to my side. That's what I thought. Mira's expression softens, and I wait to see if she's going to take the Dane route. Do you even know why he hates our mother so much? Why the kids like him are put in the on the pair? Oh fuck no, she isn't ready to hear half of what their mother did to me. I'm right here. I step up to Violet's side. In case you didn't notice. You're kind of hard to miss, Mira counters. You're not listening. I told her, I hold her accusing stare and lower my voice. I am here. Terran didn't drag her back to Bezgaeth. He didn't break through her shields and pour his emotions into her. He didn't demand she fly across the fucking kingdom. Your sister is still right here. I'm the one who left my post, my position, and my executive officer in charge of my wing. She's not missing out on shit. The truth of the words sting. I might be accomplishing a very risky run, but Sigale is right. We're here because I couldn't concentrate for shit, knowing that Violet was this close to the border. I chose Violet over my wing. And next year, when you're a brand new lieutenant, what shit is she going to miss out then? Mira asks. Yeah, fuck if I know. At this rate, they'll have to station me at Bezgaeth if I can't get my shit under control and get over. Love isn't something you'll get over, the Gale reminds me. Why do you think I flew you all the way out here? To mock me while cavorting with your mate? I didn't say it was without its perks. We'll figure it out. Violet grabs Mira's hand. Mira, he's taken every spare minute he has to train me on the mat for challenges, or take me flying in hopes I can finally figure out how to keep my damn seat without Terran holding me in place. Mira flinches. You can't keep your seat? Oh shit. No. Violet's voice drops to a whisper. How the hell can you not? Mira's jaw drops. Fuck. What are the rules when it comes to interfering with sisters? Am I supposed to step in, let Violet handle it? Llewellyn let Liam and me beat the shit out of each other when we fought, but I'm not sure that that's the right approach here. I'm also not about to infantilize Violet when her sister is doing a damn good job of it herself. Because I'm not you, Violet shouts. Mira jolts backwards. But you look so much stronger now. My joints and muscles are stronger because Imogen makes me lift those horrible weights, but that doesn't fix me. Violet's shoulders drop, and shadows pulse at the edges of the steps. The color fades from Mira's face. No, I didn't mean it like that. Vi, you're not anything that needs to be fixed. I just didn't know you couldn't hold your seat. Why didn't you tell me? Because there's nothing you can do about it. Violet's smile is anything but happy. There's nothing anyone can do about the way I'm made. The way she's made. She's fucking perfect. Everything about her is what makes her Violet. When the silence grows awkward, my power ebbs. She's getting better, I tell Mira. Just to get her off Violet's back. The first few weeks were disastrous. Hey, he caught me before I hit the ground. Violet shoots me a not helpful look. Barely, I admit, then rip my gaze from Violet to face down her sister. You don't have to trust me. Good, because I don't, she says. All of that power in the hands of someone with your history is bad enough. But you know your dragons are so tangled up that you can't be more than 3 days away from Violet is unacceptable in every possible way I can think. She freezes, her eyes going unfocused. Unnatural quiet falls, and unease ripples down my spine at the lack of the steady, quiet hum of background noise that always accompanies proximity to stored power. My stomach clenches, the words are down. Drifting coming from the east, Sigil snarls. Let me guess, they're not friendly? My gaze shoots to the top of the steps. I can have Violet on the ramparts in 30 seconds or less. Definitely not. Fuck, the words are down. Mira grabs Violet into a hug. You have to go. We can help. Violet's voice pitched toward panic. This is us. Words will only fall this quickly if the power supply is compromised or stolen. No. Which means we have enemies within the keep already. You can't. Mira's voice cuts the steel. And if Terran is using his power to keep you seated, and he's diminished as well, you have to go. Get out of here. If you love me, Violet, you'll go so I don't have to worry about you too. Western Rampart. Violet needs to be airborne now. Where do you think we're already headed? Sigil snaps. And you'd better be there with her. The squad races out of the briefing room and hurries down the steps as Mira releases Violet and pins me with a look that's equal part order and desperation. Get her out of here. My head rears back. Did she just tell me to go with her? Fuck that. Let's go, Atos yells. Now! Even if you don't trust me, I'm the best weapon you have. I remind Mira in a less than amiable tone. If what you say is true, then you're the best weapon she has. The other half of the squad will be here in moments. Oh, sorry, the book is getting heavy when I get close to the end. The other half of the squad will be here in moments, and Tyne thinks we have about 20 minutes until the Griffins arrive. Her expression shifts to a quick but blatant plea before turning to her sister. You have to get to safety, Violet. I love you. Don't die. I'd hate to be an only child. I can get Violet out and track down whatever brought down the wards. If you stay, so will she, Sigil growls. And need I remind you what happened to us all if she's killed, or what will happen to us all if she's killed while you're off proving your acumen. Sorry. Fuck. Every instinct but one demands I fight. But it's the lone, sharply insistent slice of intuition screaming to keep Violet safe. Above all else, that quickly conquers every other impulse. I breathe in sharply, then exhale pure frustration, mentally shifting to a new plan as I whip my arm around Violet's waist and pull her against my side. She flat out fights me as Mira sprints up the stairs to the roof. No! Violet throws her body weight against my grip, but I hold fast. Mira, what if you get hurt? Terran's speed could be the only thing that saves you. At least let us stay. Mira pivots at the doorway to face us. You want me to trust you, Ryerson? Get her the fuck out of here and find a way for her to keep her seat. We both know she's dead if she doesn't. I nod, then shift my grip on Violet's waist, locking my elbow around the delicate curve, and haul her ass down the stairs. Mira! Violet rakes her nails along my forearm. I love you! She screams over her shoulder. Her cry rips into my very soul, but I'm not risking my life, even for her sister. Shadows race ahead of us, pouring over the steps. If anyone is coming up this direction, I'll know before they so much as see us. Close yet? I asked the Gale as we turned the curve into the barracks hall. Not quite. Glane has rerouted as well. Good. Gives us enough time for me to get my pack. If anyone finds the alloy-hilted dagger I keep stored there, I'm fucked. Can I trust you to get your own pack? I asked Violet, setting her on her feet. Or am I going to have to carry you out of here without whatever you brought? I'll get it myself. She pushes at me, and I release my grip. 2 seconds later, she slams the door on the room she shares with Matthias in my face, and I head into mine, just down the hall, finding Liam standing with his arms folded in the center of my room, his pack strapped to his back. Was it us? He says. It's more accusation than question. No, I shove what few belongings I brought into my pack. Was it us? He shouts this time, standing in my way when I turned for the door. Then he looks like he could actually stop me from leaving if he wanted to. No, I repeat, looking him straight in the eye. I already asked the Gale. We have no operations in this area. Except what Imogen pulled off today, he retorts, his hands clenching. My jaw flexes. This wasn't us, Liam. You know I'd never risk civilian casualties by taking down an entire outpost. Imogen carried 24 daggers across the border, but even that amount of power wouldn't be enough to affect an outage like this. I sheath my sword in the scabbards sewn into my pack, then swing it onto my back. Liam's shoulders drip. This isn't on us. No. I shake my head, then clasp my shoulder. Get to the roof. We need to mount. He nods. I'll get by. I've got her. I drop my hand and walk past him, swinging open the door to the hallway. She's not exactly in favor of leaving. Now go. We split at the hallway, and Violet keeps me waiting less than a minute before barreling through her door, carrying 2 packs and avoiding my gaze as she marches towards the door that leads to the courtyard. I catch her elbow and spin her to face the correct direction. Nope, it's too dangerous to leave the fortress walls. We're going up. I hook my arm around her waist before she can even think about fighting me, then carry her to the crowded stairwell before setting her down. Climb. This is bullshit. Her cheeks flush as she narrows her eyes on me. Members of her squad pushing past. Taryn could help them, and she could die in the process. My resolve hardens to stone. Your sister is right. You have to make it out. So we're leaving. Now fucking climb. So help me, Dune. I will throw her over my damn shoulder and right in front of everyone. Dean! Her gaze swings to the squad leader just ahead of us like he's any fucking use right now. He takes Matthias's pack from Violet. For once, Ryerson and I agree. It's not just you we have to get out, Violet. Think of every other first year. Are you going to sentence an entire untrained squad to death? He starts climbing, and, lucky for me, Violet follows. Because I'll make it. Cianon, Emery, and Heaton will too. And we all fucking know Ryerson will. But what about Rhiannon, Riddick, Sawyer? You want their deaths on your hands? Is it just me, or is he already out of breath as we climb through the 3rd floor and out of onto the roof? Emery mounts ahead of us on the annoyingly narrow rampart. The design is great for preventing flyers from doing the same, but it's not doing us any favors at the moment. Riddick and Quinn are already in the air, Liam announces, watching Emery launch on his brown clubtail. I spot Day next to Kath, hovering with shallow beats of their wings. You're next, I ordered Liam, and thankfully, for our time's sake, Dane agrees, which means I don't have time to kill him. Or it means I don't have to kill him. Chunks of masonry tumble to the bailey below as Day lands, and Liam wastes no time taking the rampart at a run, just like we'd practiced hundreds of times at Llewellyn. You're next, Atos. My gaze rakes the sky for any sign of Terran. Coming behind you, the surly behemoth dazed to speak to me. She's not going to like the method. Vi, Atos, has the nerve to object? That's an order. Just because I loathe the simpering daddy's boy doesn't mean I want to be responsible for the death of a younger cadet. Plus, I can't afford Atos Sr. making my life hell. I've got her. Go. Go, Violet pleads. Atos turns my way and offers me his best impression of a threatening glare. I'm trusting you to get her out. I don't have time for this bullshit. There's a lot that's going around today. I snap. There's a lot of that going around today. I snap. Now get on your dragon so I can get her on hers. He heads down the rampart towards Kath, but he's nowhere as fast as Liam. What method isn't she going to like? I asked Terran, choosing the pathway that excludes Violet the same way he had. I'm going to have to, he pauses, and I note Violet scanning the sky above us. Scoop her up. It won't be her most dignified moment. Oh, she's going to love that. I can't do this, Violet twists in my grip, turning those hazel eyes on me. The others are gone. Call it the favor you owe me. I don't care. We can stay. I can't just leave her here. It's wrong, and it's something she'd never do to me. I have to stay for her. I just have to. Fuck, I get it. I really do. Liam and Bodhi are the closest things I have to siblings, and I wouldn't leave with their lives on the line either. But this isn't Liam or Bodhi. It's her. And we aren't at Bezgaeth. That approaching drift and whoever is responsible for compromising the power supply for the wards will kill her if given the chance, and that's not something I'll ever let happen. But damn, her courage has me tripping over my feelings for her. Approaching, Sigale informs me. Not fast enough. Violet isn't going to leave on her own accord. I can see it in her eyes. Feel it in the tense lines of her back. I drop my shields and her emotions hurtle down the bond. Determination, fear. She's going to bolt. And there's only one way to stop her. I lift my hands from her waist to the velvet soft skin of her cheeks, memorizing every color in her eyes as I cup the back of her neck, preparing to commit what she'll think is an unforgivable sin. I kiss her. It's hard and raw, wild and desperate, and the way she opens for me, kissing me back with abandon, nearly takes me out at the knees. Gods, I'll never get enough of this woman. Her mind, her tenacity, her mouth. I kiss her like this might be the last time she'll let me. Like this is an alternate reality and there's a chance she could love me back. I kiss her like she's mine. It's a stolen moment. It can never be anything more, but it's ours. Wing beats approach and I ignore them, stroking my tongue against hers again and again, keeping my hands at the nape of her neck by sheer force of will, denying the urge to explore every curve, every hollow of her tight body. I've never wanted anyone the way I want her, Never craved a woman's laugh as much as her touch, or needed her, or needed her trust more than my next breath. Only Violet. I tear my mouth away, the steady pulse of wings, undeniable as Terran and Sigil approach. Wind gusts catching the loosened strands of her hair as I lean my forehead against hers. Leave for me, Violet. She stiffens, accusation filling her eyes so quickly that I know she's figured out that I just used our attraction to distract her. I will hate you for this. Ouch. Yeah, I nod, accepting the consequences for my actions. I can live with that. I can live with anything as long as she's still breathing. So I drop my hands to her arms and force them out at her sides. Arms up, hold tight. Fuck you. She hisses out the words as a shadow falls over us, and I hit the floor, catching myself with my hands as a black claw fills the space and I just occupied, hooking Violet's arms and snatching her into the sky. She'll never forgive me, I tell Sigil as she lands on the narrowed perch ahead of me, especially if something happens to her sister. She tilts her head, staring at me with typical impatience as I launch to my feet and sprint down the rampart towards her. We're airborne in seconds, her wings pummeling the air before I even reach the seat. If she can't forgive you for the least of your transgressions, then she doesn't deserve you. I don't think she'll see it that way. I get a good grip on her scales and settle in for the flight. Then you'd better start praying to your gods that her sister survives. Alright, so we got that Xaden chapter down. I'm gonna take another quick little break, and then we will get into the second of the Xaden POV chapters. Oh, that was almost an hour's worth of reading. Alright. So when we get back from the break, we will read another Xaden POV chapter, and this is of chapter 9. Alright. So, if you guys... I'm not sure if you guys remember, for this chapter, this is the one where I tried reading originally back when I was reading this chapter, chapter 9, but I stopped because I realized there was a lot of very important news that I had to finish the book before reading this. So this is chapter 9, where Xaden and Violet are about to spar on the mat for the first time together. Alright, so chapter 9. Chapter 9 of Xaden's point of view. You don't think you'll need those? Sorengale asks, gripping 2 of her daggers and facing me on the mat with an impressive lack of trembling. Hell, she looks more pissed than she does terrified, and or that I'm about to end her, even though I have handed all my weapons to Imogen. This is reckless, Sigale lectures. Nope, not when you brought enough for the both of us. My mouth quirks into a smile as I crook my fingers at her, then lock my shields firmly in place since Atos hovers close by. The second year is good on the mat, even if he's a little too straight-laced to really be the best in this place. Let's go. She takes a fighting stance, and I forget the members of second squad surrounding the mat. Forget the mission. I'm due to fly this weekend, focusing solely on her, Violet Sorengale, the 5-foot nothing daughter of the general that who executed my father. I have every right to ruin her according to the Codex. She might fall under my chain of command, but she's not in my squad. I could snap her neck, and no one in this room would interfere. But the 107 souls I'm responsible for would pay the price. So, so what the fuck am I doing on this mat? Her posture changes subtly, her wrist flicking a second before she flings a dagger at my damned chest. I catch it by pure reflex, then cluck my tongue at her. Already seen that move. That is what I'm doing out here. Took me all of 2 weeks to realize she's somehow figured out who she'll be facing, and has been poisoning her opponents. That brilliant, devious mind might regrettably take a complete, be a complete turn on, but she's going to have to get, she's going to get herself killed if she depends solely on that method, and flinging daggers like a carnival act. To my surprise, the thought doesn't sit right with me. Nothing but her does. Nothing about her does. What the hell? I can't read. She attacks in a typical first-year swipe and kick combo, which is as easy to predict as it is to block. I pluck the badly balanced dagger from her grip and catch her by the thigh, using her own momentum and slight body weight against her to drop her to the mat. Her hazel eyes flare wide as she stares up at me, fighting to draw breath, and I drop the dagger at her side and kick it out of her reach towards the squad leader, who should have taught her better. Were she any other opponent, I'd put the blade against her throat, proving my point and ending the match. But fuck me if I don't feel like I somehow owe the first year for keeping her mouth shut about the meeting she saw under the oak tree. My form of gratitude just happens to be not killing her as she lies at my feet, battling her own lungs. Her ribs finally rise, and she heaves herself upward to a sitting position, then tries to plunge a knife in my thigh. Oh, for fuck's sake. I block the strike with my right forearm, then take hold of her wrist with my left hand and disarm her as I lean down into her space, mere inches from her face. Going for blood today, are we, Violence? I whisper. Rage shines in those mesmerizing eyes as I drop her blade to the mat and kick it out of reach, also. She's too easy to disarm, and her false confidence that she's not willing to, she's not will get, and her false confidence that she's not will get her killed. And why the fuck isn't she using weapons suited for her body type and fighting style? Not that she actually has a fighting style yet. My name is Violet, she retorts, and I half expect her to hiss at me like a cat. That's exactly what she reminds me of, all sleek lines and bared claws. Only the pulse fluttering beneath my fingertips gives away her fear. Violet is too soft of a name for her, too breakable. I'm well aware of the shit people talk about her bones and joints, but from what I've seen, the woman has a core of steel. I think my version fits you better. I release her wrists and stand to my full height, offering her a hand up and hoping she's too smart to take it. We're not done yet, but she does. Fuck me, she's naive. I pull her to her feet and whip her around before she can get her bearings, twisting her arm behind her back and trapping our hands beneath us as I tug her hard against my chest. Too naive for this place. Damn it, she snaps. I slip one of her obnoxiously big daggers from her thigh sheaths and lift it to the soft skin of her throat, pinning her in place with my forearm. Her head falls back against my chest, the silver ends of her hair braided up like a crown. She barely reaches my collarbone, so I dip my head to the other so the others won't hear. And gods, she smells really fucking good. Like, no, thinking about how she smells, thinking about how she smells, jackass. Don't trust a single person who faces you on this mat, I lecture quietly near the shell of her ear, careful to keep my mouth off her. Since when do I think about putting my mouth on an opponent? Even someone who owes me a favor? She retorts, keeping her voice equally low. Warmth flares in my chest in appreciation of her discretion. Her quick observation that this lesson isn't for the public dissemination, and I drop the knife, kicking it to her squad leader, just like the other two, and ignoring the bluster of threat in his stern expression. I'm the one who decides when to grant that favor, not you. I release her so I don't dislocate her shoulder and step back. She acts immediately, spinning with a raised fist, and I bat it away from my throat. Good. I can't help but smile as I block her next attempt, just as easily. Going for the throat is your best option, as long as it's exposed. Her cheeks flush, anger narrowing her eyes as she kicks in the same fucking combination she's already tried, and I grab hold of her thigh again, unsheathing the last dagger there and letting it fall before I release her. I lift my scarred eyebrow in sheer disappointment. She's smarter than that. I expect you to learn from your mistakes, I kick at Atos. She retrieves her next weapon from her rib sheath and takes a defensive stance as she circles me. It's all I can do not to sigh in complete utter annoyance. I don't need to see her to hear her every step on the mat behind me as she hesitates. You going to prance or are you going to strike? That should get her moving. The shadows on the mat give her away, and I twist and duck as she jabs forward, the knife slicing through the air where I'd be standing. At least she really went for it. But the move leaves her exposed, so I use her arms to flip her around the side of my torso, sending her face first into the mat and following her down. She gasps when I wrench my arm into a submissive hold, forcing her to drop the dagger, careful to balance most of the weight on my right. I set my left knee onto her back, just enough to stress her. She has to learn how to move under pressure, how to think on the edge of death. I strip away another of her daggers and fling it at the squad leader's feet, then pull another from her ribs and set it on the exposed skin beneath her jaw. Then I invade what little space she has. Taking out your enemy before the battle is really smart. I'll give that to you. I whisper into her ear, and she tenses beneath me. Yeah, Violence, I know what you've been up to. Problem is, if you aren't testing yourself in here, I drag the blade down her neck, careful not to draw blood, then you're not going to get any better. You'd rather I die, no doubt. She spits back, the side of her face squished against the mat. And be denied the pleasure of your company? Sarcasm drips from my retort. I fucking hate you. A corner of my mouth lifts. Gods, she's just as merciless as Sigil when it comes to her tongue. That doesn't make you special. I gain my feet and kick the knives to Atos, leaving Sorengale with two more to fight with as I offer my hand again. She scowls but doesn't take the help this time, standing on her own, and another smile curves my mouth. I can't remember the last time I had so much fun. Every single one of her expressions is beautifully raw. There's no guile, no artifice, but there's also no control. She can be taught. She's a quick learner, she fires back. That remains to be seen. I take two steps backward and beckon her forward by crooking my fingers again. You've made your damn point. Her voice rises to a public level, and Imogen gasps behind me, no doubt worried that I'll lose my temper and kill the first year. But killing her is the last thing on my mind. Trust me, I've barely gotten started. I cross my arms and lift my weight back, curious to see what she does next, and even more perplexed as to why I care so damned much. Sure, she's beautiful, but I've never let the symmetry of someone's facial features sway me. But it's not the palpable hatred in her ever-changing eyes, either. I'm used to being loathed, but the combination of her hatred and her silence about seeing us meet is too intriguing to ignore. She moves, and I'm too fucking distracted to react like usual. And when she kicks for the backs of my knees, I fall hard. Holy shit. What did I say about being reckless? Sigil pushes through my shields. The silver-haired girl is a distraction you can't I plant my feet on the mental hillside of Terrandor and reinforce my shields, blocking her out. She's never going to let me live this down. Sorengale lands on my back and attempts a headlock. Good for her. It's a solid choice, but she isn't physically strong enough to cut off my air supply. She's fighting like she's 6 inches taller and has another 40 pounds on her instead of leaning into her actual strengths. I don't bother with her arms. Twisting quickly, I break her grip and grasp the backs of her thighs in one motion, throwing us into a roll that ends with me pinning her back to the mat. Before she can take another breath, I put my forearm against the delicate line of her throat, but don't press. There are over a dozen different ways to end her in this position, and I have all the leverage. But though my hips anchor hers to the mat, I have most of my weight braced on my left arm so I don't crush her. She's well and fucking caught, and the flash of fear that's quickly masked by fury in her eyes tells me she knows it too. Damn it, I don't want to crush her. What the fuck is happening to me? She grabs for a dagger and makes the monumental mistake of going for my shoulder. I abandon her throat and capture her wrist, pinning it above her head. Then I watch her face with rapt fascination as her expressions shift from wide-eyed shock to tense in fear to pursed-lipped anger, all in a matter of seconds. The speed with which she processes information and compartmentalizes her feelings is such an advantage, and I doubt she even knows it. Pink flushes up her neck and into her cheeks, and suddenly I find myself studying her for an entirely different reason. The blush that skittered pulse, the way her gaze flicks towards my mouth for less than a second. I'm not the only one attracted here. Fuck, this is dangerous. She is dangerous. The world outside the mat ceases to exist as my focus narrows to just violence. She really is stunning, especially when pissed. Tension surges between us, and my heartbeat jumps despite my best effort to lock that shit down. But damn if I'm not critically aware of the feel of her body beneath mine, the warmth of her skin under my fingertips, the way her breath catches as I lower my face to hers slowly. Sliding my fingertips up the heel of her hand, I force her fist open, then toss the blade across the mat before freeing her wrist. Get your dagger, I damned. What? Her eyes fly wide. Get your dagger, I repeat, moving her hand with mine and dragging it to her ribs, to the last of her daggers. I curl my fingers around hers, grabbing the hilt. Even her hands are soft, fragile, breakable, and if I don't teach her how to use her petite size to her advantage, the next opponent will use it to shatter her. And for some fucking reason I can't identify or deny, I care. Gods damn it. You're tiny, anger simmers in my stomach. Well aware, she glares. So stop going for bigger moves that expose you. I bring our laced hands to my side and drag the tip down my ribs. A rib shot would have worked just fine. Then I lead our hands around my back, leaving myself vulnerable for the first time since I walked into this prison of a war college. Kidneys are a good fit from this angle too. She swallows, and I fight the urge to watch the motion of her throat, holding her gaze instead. I swear, her eyes seem different every time I look into them. No wonder I can't look away. I bring our hands to my waist, keeping my eyes locked on hers. Chances are, if your opponent is in armor, it's weak here. Those are 3 easy places you could have struck before your opponent would have had time to stop you. Her lips part, and she draws a shaky breath. Do you hear me? I'm sure as hell not repeating this lesson, she nods. Good. Because you can't poison every enemy you come across, I whisper, watching the blood drain from her face as I level the accusation. You're not going to have time to offer tea to some bravey Griffin rider when they come at you. How did you know? She tenses under me, and fuck, her thighs clench around my hips. I have to get the fuck off her before she realizes she has another weapon at her disposal when it comes to me. Oh, Violence, you're good, but I've known better poison masters. The trick is to not make it quite so obvious. Brennan would give one of his frustrated sighs if he knew just how obvious his little sister was. Then again, he'd also try to kick my ass for the position I have Violence in. A bitter taste floods my mouth. She has no clue he's alive. She opens her mouth like she's about to speak. I think she's been taught enough for the day, Atos barks. It takes every ounce of control I possess not to startle at the sudden reminder that we're not alone. He always that overprotective? I mutter, putting a couple of inches between us. He cares about me. She narrows her eyes at me, which I'm starting to think is her default expression. He's holding you back. Don't worry, your little poisoning secret is safe with me. I arch my scarred brow and hope she gets the hint to keep my secret safe too. Then I slide our joined hands along her side and sheath the jeweled hilted blade she has no business carrying. It's too fucking big for her. Too easy to knock loose. You're not going to disarm me? She questions as I slip my fingers from hers and lift my weight off her. Thank God she has the common sense to release my hips from the grip of her thighs, because mine has fled, replacing by the urge to leave them right where they were and carry her to the nearest empty room to see just how attracted we both are. But that way lies absolute disaster. Arms. Nope, defenseless women have never been my type. We're done for today. I stand, immediately leaving her there, and walk to the edge of the mat to get my weapons from Imogen. What the hell was that? She whispered, handing back the last of my knives. Atos. I ignore her question and turn toward the squad leader across the mat, who's busy coddling Violence as usual. His head snaps towards mine, and the anger there almost makes me smile. She could use a little less protection and a little more instruction. I level an accusatory look on him until he nods, then turn and walk away. You in the mood to spar with first years? Garrick asks, keeping pace with me. I'm a few steps from second squad, a smile tugging at his mouth. Or just that particular first year. Sometimes I hate how fucking observant you are. It's hard to miss the way you look at her, he says, lowering his voice. Like I want to kill her? I retort, spotting an interesting match in claw section. Or don't finish that sentence when I'm in the mood to hit people. We're mutually assured destruction against each other, which makes us the perfect sparring partners, but I'm just aggravated enough to do some real damage to my best friend, despite the size he has on me. Oh, would you please? He puts his hand on to his heart and grins. I need you to use those big, strong hands to show me. I shove his shoulder so hard to send him staggering sideways and keep walking out of his section and into claw. The farther the better when it comes to Sorengale. Alrighty, guys. So that was the end of the Xaden Chapter 9 point of view. When we come back from the break, we'll read the last chapter of the day, which is a Chapter 16 Xaden point of view. Alright. We'll be back in a little bit, guys. Alrighty. So the last chapter of the day of this book too, like fully the last chapter of this book. Maybe we'll get through this before I have to switch the song or the music back to the beginning of the video. Oh my goodness. Alright, so we're gonna do... This is chapter 16 in Xaden's point of view. For a refresher, for those of you who, don't remember, this is, right after threshing. So this is right after, Violet just, had, bonded Taryn, and this is when, they're talking to Dane, or Dane is talking to her right after, you know, she just got mended. And, yeah. This is gonna be fun. It's chapter 16 in Xaden's point of view. Don't you see what happened? What Xaden's done? Atos asks Sorengale, panicking in the infantry soldier, like the infantry soldier he should have been, and insinuating that I changed the outcome of threshing. If I act every time someone drags my name through a pile of bullshit, I'll never get anything done. For the most part, I take note of the offense, file it away for future consideration, and move on. As Sigale loves to remind me, dragons are not concerned with the opinions of the sheep, or most humans. But Atos's fingers dent in the shoulders of Sorengale's uniform, right above the bandage from where she took the blade that the limp dick first-year Terran incinerated, and unexplainable rage pumps into my veins like little shards of ice, cutting everything in its path. I slam my mental shields down just like I do every time I'm near anyone, let alone a memory reader. Please, do tell me what it is you think I've done. I step into the moonlight that illuminates most of the flight field and sever the flow of power from Sigale, letting the night's shadows fall back into their natural state so this asshole can see me clearly. You manipulated threshing. Atos takes his hand off Sorengale's shoulders and I decide to let him keep them for now. Seriously, of all the laws I could break around here, that's the one he goes with? I almost laugh, and then the asshole puts himself in front of Sorengale like violence actually needs his protection. He didn't see her out there on the field today like I did, or he wouldn't be hovering like a nanny. Dane, that's... Sorengale steps out from behind him. Is that an official accusation? Gods, please give me a reason to beat that pompous codex-loving shit out of him, just once. He's nothing but an irritant. Have some self-control, Sigale lectures, like her affections for the little golden dragon isn't what put us in this fucking situation. I keep my gaze locked on Atos and off Sorengale's wide hazel eyes and the scrapes that mar her skin. I definitely don't let my attention wander down those tight curves. Fuck, she's a distraction. One I can't afford, and yet one I've just been saddled with for the rest of our God's forsaken life. And instead of glaring up at me with that fire I can't seem to stay the fuck away from, it's fear making her eyes appear more amber than blue in the moonlight. Fear for Atos? Something unpleasant twists in my gut. Did you step in? Atos questions, his voice pitching towards whiny. Did I what? I lift my brow, letting all my loathing for his spoiled ass shine through. The pint-sized morsel of straight-up arsenic nearly got herself killed on that flight field, and his concern is for protocol? Did I see her outnumbered and already wounded? Did I think her bravery was as admirable as it was fucking reckless? I make the monumental mistake of looking at her, and the rigid hold I keep on my temper slips. She could have died out there. She almost did, right in front of me. And I would do it again, she tilts her stubborn chin at me. Well the fuck aware. Shit. So much for for only slipping. My control just evaporated. Did I see her fight off 3 bigger cadets? I narrow my eyes at Atos. Because the answer to all of those is yes. But you're asking the wrong question, Atos. What you should be asking is if Sigale saw it too. You did not just bring me into this nonsense. You sure as hell dragged me into it. Since when do you get all mushy over smaller dragons? Not that the golden one isn't cute, but going soft on cute ones gets you killed out here, which is exactly what makes Sorengale so dangerous for me. Atos looks away nervously, as he should. His mate told him, Sorengale whispers, guessing someone filled her in on Terran Sigale's mating bond. Since when do you get emotional over human women? Sigale challenges. I'm pissed, not emotional, I correct her. She's not even a fan of, or she's never been a fan of bullies, I confirm. But don't mistake it as an act of kindness towards you. She's fond of the little dragon. Unfortunately, Terran chose you all on his own. Fuck, Atos murmurs, finally putting it together. My thoughts exactly. I shake my head at the squad leader. Sorengale is the last person on the continent I'd ever want to be chained to me. I didn't do this. In 1 second, on that field, my attitude towards violence changed from maybe I'll kill her or maybe I won't, to protect her at all costs. And not because she's brilliant, or beautiful, or infuriatingly capable of shredding my capable crafted control. Even though she's absolutely all of those things, no, I had no choice in this. Terran made my decision for me. And even if I had, I step into Atos' space, and to his credit, he doesn't retreat as I hover over him. Would you really level that accusation knowing it would have been what saved the woman you call your best friend? At some point, Sorengale is going to have to recognize that that the last year in the quadrant has changed her little friend into someone she doesn't actually know. His silence is fucking delicious, saying more to incriminate him than I ever could. There are rules, he stammers, trying his best to stare me down even though I have inches on him. Odd time to grow a spine, but good for him. Out of curiosity, would you have, let's say, bent those rules to save your precious little Violet in that field? Her name tastes odd on my tongue, softer than the nickname I prefer. This is cruel even for you, Sigale notes with a hint of amusement. It's unfortunate that it hurts her, but she's going to have to toughen up to survive our partnership, and Atos can't be anywhere around us. Oh, so we're not discussing that you were already moving when Terran landed? She fires back. Had he not arrived, you'd be guilty of the very thing the Colonel's offspring accuses you of doing? I moved on instinct to protect. Let's not embarrass each other by letting you finish that sentence. I fucking hate when she does that. She's the only being on the continent with a sharper tongue than mine. Well, violence might give her a run for her money. Damn, Atos still hasn't answered? That's unfair to ask him. Sorengale walks straight up to me, putting herself beside Atos as the rhythmic beat of dragon wings fills the air. Guess the Empyrean has made its choice as to if they'll let her bond both dragons. I'm ordering you to answer, squad leader. I lock my eyes on his. Come on, show her who you really are. Atos swallows so obnoxiously loud that I can hear it, then squeezes his eyes shut. No, I wouldn't have. I scoff. Fucking rule-loving coward. He doesn't deserve the breath, or he doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as violence. She's half his size and 1,000 times braver. Talk about a disproportionate relationship. There's no rule in this godforsaken college that would keep me from saving Bodhi's, Garrick's, or Liam's life. And now hers. Atos swings his face towards Sorrengail, but even I can see the damage it's done. She looks like someone just shredded her favorite book. Shit. What is that uncomfortable weight sitting on my lungs? Is that... No, it can't be. I can't remember the last time I felt guilty about, well, anything that doesn't involve a Mark 1. It would have killed me to watch something happen to you, Vi, but the rules, Atos whines. It's all right, she interrupts, lifting her hands on his shoulders. And it's enough to turn the guilt to nausea, which I'm oddly thankful for. The dragons are returning. I note the obvious as they start to land, causing cadets to scramble out of the way. Get back to formation, squad leader. Atos scurries away like the little rat he is. Why would you do that to him? Sorrengail damn near shouts at me, then shakes her head. Forget it. She dismisses me, walking away without a word. I blink. Swear to Amari, the 5'0" pain in my ass is the only person who ever has the nerve to dismiss me. I'm moving before my common sense can tell me to leave well enough alone. Because you put too much faith in him. I catch up to her in a matter of steps. And knowing who to trust is the only thing that will keep you alive. Keep us alive. Not only in the quadrant, but after graduation. There is no us, she retorts, barely avoiding a collision with another rider running by, causing my heart to jolt. Yesterday, I might not have cared. Today, her blood is my blood. Oh, I think you'll find that that's no longer the case. I grab hold of her elbow and pull her out of the path of another imminent collision. Is this what it's going to be like trying to keep this woman alive? She'll stand up to 3 armed bullies to defend the smallest dragon, but she won't watch where the fuck she's walking? Terran's bonds are so powerful, both to mate and rider, because he's so powerful. Losing his last rider nearly killed him, which, in turn, nearly killed Sigil. Mated pairs' lives are interdependent, I know that. She snaps back, anger highlighting the blue in her eyes as she rips her gaze from mine, focusing on the movement of the riot as they land. What in Dune's name is wrong with me that I'm noticing shit like that? Now who's getting mushy? Sigil asks. Attracted and mushy aren't the same thing. And I'm already pissed at myself for the first. I'm sure as hell not slipping into the second. Each time a dragon chooses a rider, that bond is stronger than the last, which means that if you die, Violence, it sets off a chain of events that potentially ends with me dying too. So yeah, unfortunately for everyone involved, there's now an us, if the Empyrean lets Terran's choice stand. Her eyes flare and her lips part. And I'm definitely not thinking about her mouth, not when I have bigger concerns like how to keep her alive, not thinking about the best angle to kiss her either, or what her perfect ass would feel like in my hands. Sorry, because... And now that Terran is in play, the other cadets know he's willing to bond. Gods, they're going to come after her on the mat, in the halls, in the goddamn bathing chamber that I can't exactly patrol. I force my gaze away and exhale with enough force to actually call it a sigh. That's why Terran told me to stay with you, she whispers, like she's finally grasping the severity of our situation. Because of the unbonded? The unbonded are going to try and kill you in hopes to get Terran to bond them. Garrick heads my way, and I shake my head, any news he has from last night's mission has to wait. Of all the people in the quadrant, Terran had to bond Sorengale. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna restart this video. Life is about to get infinitely more complicated. Feel free to question his motives, Xaden suggests. Hell no, I prefer my head attached. He is one surly motherfucker. Terran is one of the strongest dragons on the continent, and the vast power he channels is about to be yours. The next few months, the Unbonded will try to kill a newly paired rider while the bond is weak. While they still have a chance of that dragon changing its mind and picking them, so they're not set back a full year. And for Terran, they'll do about anything. I can't help but sigh for real this time. There are 41 unbonded riders, for which you are now target number 1. I hold up my pointer finger. And Terran thinks you'll play bodyguard? She snorts. Little does he know just how much you dislike me. He knows exactly how much you dislike her and how often you stare. I will volunteer every cold winter mission in existence if you... Rude! As if your inability to control your own hormones should result in my discomfort. She mentally shudders. Ruthless and vicious as my girl might be, she draws the line at the cold unless we're flying for Orisha. He knows exactly how much I value my own life. I counter, my gaze roaming down Sorengale's body. There's absolutely nothing to dislike about what I see. In fact, if Amari herself ever designed a woman with my downfall in mind, well, fuck. Maybe that's exactly what violence is, my downfall. Soft skin, sharp mind, fierce temper, deadly with a dagger, brave to a fault, and utterly unruffled. You're freakishly calm for someone who just heard she's about to be hunted. What makes her lose complete control? What kind of man would she let unravel her? Oh. She's 2 years your junior and in your chain of command, Xaden phased outrage. And you're 50 years younger than Terran. Your point? It's a typical Wednesday for me. Sorengale shrugs, and my gaze locks onto the flush in her cheeks, that delicate bloom of pink that tells me she's not as unaffected by me as she likes to pretend. And honestly, being hunted by 41 people is a lot less intimidating than constantly watching Dark Corners for you. Fair point. The gold dragon lands behind us, followed by the monstrosity Xaden calls a mate, and I walk the hell away as quickly as possible now that Sorengale's protected, heading across the field to where Xaden waits at the end of the row where the with the other wing leaders' dragons. Garrick stands just off to the side of Krad's. I keep forgetting how his is. I think it's Krad. I don't know. His brown scorpion tail. And lifts his eyebrows as I approach. So, you and the General's daughter. Not funny. I shake my head and ignore Xaden's chuff beside me as General Melgren takes the front of the dais. My skin crawls, just like it always does when he's near. Fucking murderer. It's not hard to tune him out. I've practiced ignoring him for years. Besides, I don't need to listen in order to know what he's going to say. Terran will get his way. She'll bond both dragons. Even the Empyrean isn't going to tell the second largest dragon on the continent no when he finally... Terran will get his way. She'll bond both dragons. Even the Empyrean isn't going to tell the second largest dragon on the continent no when he finally wants to bond. They want him back on the battlefield. Is this going to be a problem? Garrick asks as Melgren prattles on. No. Right. The word drips with sarcasm. I'm fine. I scan the first years who survived threshing. I've seen corpses more fine than you. my best friend mutters. Of course corpses are fine. They have nothing to worry about. And and I've just been handed Violet fucking Sorrengail to protect if I want to live, which I do. Or rather, I have to. Especially since Melgren just announced that she gets to bond her dragons. I lower my shields just enough to feel for the bond. The hard sapphire one I share with Xaden is locked into place as always, but now there are two more. The onyx I recognize as Terran, and the other a glimmering strand of silver, like the ends of her hair. Fuck. He really did bond her. Only a mating bond with Xaden or like Xaden and Terrans could link me to another writer, whether or not I want it. Sorrengail looks across the field at me, and I slam my shields back into place and hold up my pointer finger. She's now target number 1 around here, and my biggest liability. Guess we'll need to keep her alive, Garrick mutters as General Sorrengail steps forward to give her yearly speech about family, even though she threw hers to the dragons. Yes. How the hell am I going to keep her alive through all the first years? Shit I'm nowhere near. I look across the field and spot Liam, my foster brother, standing in front of his new red dagger tail, as the dragons gift their riders with relics to channel a magic. Maybe I should move Liam into her squad. Liam? Garrett questions. Oh my god, hold on. Come here. He's the best in his year, I nod as the first years break out in celebration. I trained him to fight, so I know he's capable of protecting her. Plus, he's as loyal to me as I am to him. Or you could give her a chance to make it on her own first. Garrick folds his arms across his chest and glances sideways at me. There are a multitude of reasons he might be right. But if that's the route you choose, everyone likes Liam, so hopefully she will too. It will make it easier for him to guard her. She'll like him. That unpleasant feeling flares in my gut again, twisting into a knot. Garrick grins. Don't worry, he won't fuck her. My eyes narrow at Garrick. Why would I care if the word dies on my tongue as Atos walks behind Sorrengail and reaches for her back? That asshole is unlacing her armor. He's got his hands on her skin. I breathe through my nose and out through my mouth to quell the quickly rising nausea. Relax, he's lacing her back up, Garrick says, and I know without looking the asshole is still smiling. See? She's already turning around. Sorrengail turns in Atos' arms, and he lifts his hands to her face. No doubt he's pilfering through her memories to see if I actually interfered. Nothing to... Oh, shit. Garrick's voice fades into a whisper as Atos lowers his head and kisses Sorrengail. Fire rushes through my veins, and shadow spasms around me, distorting my vision for a second. Dane fucking Atos has his mouth on my violence. Not mine. But that doesn't stop the knot in my stomach from unfurling, spreading like acid into my system, burning through my chest and making it hard to draw breath until the snot-nosed asswipe lifts his head. Damn, you all right over there? Garrick asks, laughter lacing his tone. I pin my feet to the field with shadows to keep from marching over there and feeding Atos my fist. How fucking dare he kiss the mouth he wouldn't bend to a rule to protect, when I would... Yes, what would you do? Xaden asks. Fuck me, what wouldn't I do? You're looking a little green, Garrick flat out laughs, and I force air in and out of my lungs as Sorrengail steps back from Atos. He grins down at her, but wait, she isn't returning the sentiment. No. Sorrengail looks like she just accidentally kissed her cousin and can't retreat fast enough. Talk about awkward. In 20 years, I don't think I've ever seen you jealous before. This is amazing. Garrick claps his hands on my shoulder. Jealous. That's exactly what this is. hot, corrosive feeling is jealousy. And now I'm linked to this woman for the rest of our lives. I need to stay as far away from her as possible. But you won't, Sigale predicts, and I'd be tempted to raise my middle finger if I didn't think she'd bite the damn thing off as a reminder that she can. Alright, that's the end. That's the end of Fourth Wing. Oh my god. So we have finished Fourth Wing officially. Alright, so we have finished Fourth Wing officially. So that means that starting tomorrow, Sunday the 22nd, we will start with the first 6 chapters of Iron Flame. Oh, I'm excited. If you guys want, probably, if you guys want, you're more than welcome to discuss, like, for those of you watching on YouTube, or if you want, you can, you guys are more than welcome to, join my Discord, and, communicate with me on if you have any theories, and yeah, if you want, you can talk in the comments. I'm more than happy to, you know, discuss Fourth Wing with everybody, and I can't wait to start, you know, reading Iron Flame with you guys tomorrow. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you all, tomorrow again at noon, and we will start the first 6 chapters of Iron Flame. Bye!